911, what's your emergency?
It's my baby. She's not waking up. I don't know what's wrong. I'm so scared.
Is she breathing?
No, please help. I put her down for a nap in my bed, and now I can't get her to open her eyes. She's not breathing. She feels cold.
Help is on the way. I need you to follow my directions, though.
It's frustrating because it's 100% preventable, 100%. I wish that every parent could take a trip with me into a home. There's nothing more disturbing than to hear a parent cry, that guttural cry, just mourning their child, the loss of their child, right? If I could just have them go there and then I could tell them, this is how you prevent it. This is how you keep it from happening. There's no socioeconomic boundaries, there's no race boundaries. It happens to affluent people, it happens to people that are poor, right? It happens to middle class, lower class, every single class, every level it happens to. I'm a 25-year law enforcement officer, so I've worked many cases across different levels of crimes, and crimes against children doesn't just encompass death investigations. And in all those other cases, I feel genuine anger for the perpetrator and for the situation. But in the cases involving accidental deaths, where a parent put their child in an unsafe sleeping environment, unbeknownst to them, that's not anger that I feel. It's sorrow.
Infants dying of suffocation due to unsafe sleep environments. It continues to be our #1 preventable child death in Manatee County, the #1 preventable child death in the state of Florida, and probably the #1 preventable in the country. Parents, because the baby's sleeping, tend to not want to disturb them. But if it's in an unsafe sleep environment, you cannot leave them. I've been trained by the Centers for Disease Control in the Sudden Unexpected Infant Death Investigation, 5 people from each state, and I was fortunate enough to represent Florida as a law enforcement officer, and I continue to teach that training to law enforcement, medical examiner, investigators, and so forth. When I would do that training early on, I would say that there wasn't a single time that I didn't have at least one person come up after the training and say to me, I now know how my baby died. They told me it was SIDS, but I now know my baby died of asphyxia due to unsafe sleep.
They just told us to lay them on their stomach or on their side, because if they was to choke, the milk would run down the side of their mouth. So that's all we did. That's all I did. But they never told us about the cribs, not putting anything in it. I had my baby crib laced, pillows, comforter, sheets, the little Mickey Mouse stuff, everything. I was on baby number 4, Davion. Everything was normal. He was a big baby. He was beautiful. 7 pounds, 7 ounces. He was a little over 3 weeks. We bathed him, laid him down to sleep after feeding and burping him, laid him in his crib, pulled the covers up over him, laid him on his side, and he was asleep. I went to sleep. When I woke up, my husband had him in his arms, and he seemed like he's lifeless. And I just went to screaming, crying and stuff. I'm like, oh no, he can't be dead. My friend tried doing CPR, and they called the ambulance. The ambulance came, and they tried working on him, and they said he was dead. It's hurting, it's pain.
It's really important to get that message out about how unsafe it is to use blanketing and pillowing, because it creates soft bedding. The baby can get its face down in there. We call it rebreathing their own exhaled air, which is carbon dioxide, and then they just slowly asphyxiate. Pillows, blankets, adults, animals, siblings, couches, a variety of different areas where an infant can be put to sleep, that creates that unsafe environment that the infant can't recover from, and they have no way once they can't get their breath, they can't cry out, it's a very quiet process.
The tough decision may be to say, you know, I know I'm tired. The easy thing would be to bring the baby in the bed with me. But I want those parents to know that this is the potential consequence for doing that. Are you willing to bet your baby's life on the convenience of having that baby in the bed with you? Are you willing to bet your baby's life on the convenience of propping a baby up on a nursing pillow because it's easier for that baby to feed themselves, right? You know, parents, they're tired, so they'll prop a baby up in a nursing pillow with a bottle, and the baby's not even old enough or has the capacity to control anything, and they end up dying because of things like that. There's been advances in technology and the knowledge, medical knowledge of what is safe sleep for a baby. This is how you should keep your baby safe, right? These are the mechanisms that you should employ to keep your baby safe. At the end of the day, this is your child, and you need to do what's best for your child.
The ELC, they had a training class, so I went, and because it was on infants and stuff, and then they said when you have stuff in the cribs and stuff, that babies roll over and they might, you know, smother or whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, my baby. I had his crib full of all these things. And that's when ever since then, I just been telling people, don't have nothing in your baby cribs.
We know more today than we ever have. And so we need to apply that knowledge and make this as common as car seats. It's automatic. We put our baby in a car seat. In fact, you can't leave the hospital without it when you have a baby. And so we want the safe sleep practice to be as common as a car seat.
When you know better, you do better, don't you? If you don't know, then you don't know what to do. Once they learn, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that, then I think they'll do.
We get the data, and the research is done from the Child Death Review Team. But what backs our source, where this research is really coming from, is the American Academy of Pediatrics. We are teaching that safe sleeping is only handled one way, and we keep it easy. It's an acronym. So the A stands for alone, B stands for on their back. That's the only way, the safest way. And then C stands for the empty crib. So nothing else inside, or it could be a bassinet or a pack and play. We want them to be on a firm mattress with a tight fitting sheet. We recommend sharing a room, but not a bed. And we talk about the dangers of co-sleeping, which is the #1 cause of sleep-related deaths. So sharing a room, you can still be there, you can still hear, but you're not putting the baby in danger. And then the last tip we recommend is to stay alert while feeding. New parents are exhausted, and so it's really important to put yourself in a position, especially during those late night, early morning feedings where you're almost uncomfortable, you set an alarm, and you then put the baby back to sleep in their own safe sleep environment.
We will come to whatever facility they need us to, or we open up our facilities so they can come here. We want to accommodate their community so we can get that knowledge out. If death can go there, then we can go there. It's ineffective for us just to do these trainings if you're not applying them in other places.
Like a lot of them say, hey, my mama did it, my grandma did it, I don't look at it that way no more. I look at it as there's a one chance that it's possible that it could happen.
You'll never know the lives you save, only the ones you don't. And we, from doing our death investigation and doing our review of child death cases and look for preventability, we You know, our hope is that we won't, you know, that we'll see a reduction in these, and hopefully that we won't have to go to another case where a child died of an accidental asphyxia that was preventable. We are looking at data which is right now around 43 infants dying between the year 2013 and 2024. And the sad reality is over 60% of them were in a sleep surface shared environment. In other words, mainly the adult bed or a couch. We call it co-sleeping. So that's huge that people know. These are Manatee County data. This is not looking at throughout the country. So if you were to just stop sleep surface sharing and parents put their baby in a safe place on its back with no blankets, no pillows, no stuffed animals, in a sleep sack, or dressed appropriately for the temperature of the room, we could reduce this to almost nothing. If they're in that prone position, or when their chin goes to chest, it's literally cutting off the airway, so there is no air getting in. Just think of it as a straw that's kinked. You're not getting your drink, they're not getting their air. So when that airway, when they go down like this, and you can hear I can hardly speak, the same thing is happening, only they can't lift their head up, but their airway is cut off. So that's what's happening in those circumstances. So it can be a number of different things that we're seeing, but it's different forms of asphyxiation.
Teach grandma, let grandma see. Things change. People find out different stuff. They know that things that they did, some of it was wrong back in their days. Teach grandma. And a lot of grandmas will listen to what the kids have to say. And they'll take heed to what they have to say. You know, you just do it respectfully.
The only way, just reinforcing again what the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, is that there is no incline at all. It is a flat and firm surface, which is why it is dangerous to put a baby to sleep in anything that has an incline. We talk in our trainings about making sure that caregivers are using products for what they're intended. And there's a lot of things being used for sleep that are not meant for sleep and can pose a danger. It's really important to make sure that products you're using are not worn or damaged, that they're current, that we check with the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Things are being recalled all the time.
Better wise up. That's all I could say, wise up, because it happens to anybody. It's just a matter of time. Might not happen on the first child, might not happen in the second one, but it'll happen.
All it would have been was just one mistake, and it would have been, I would have been one of those parents that were, you know, just remembering every single birthday that my kid was gonna have, or every day that that it rolled around when my baby died. I would have remembered that for the rest of my life.
Death, though, it doesn't define color, age, or nothing. I mean, Davion was 3 weeks old. By me not knowing, he ended up passing. That can happen to anybody. As long as you're human, it can happen to you. I don't care what color you is. It can happen.
You can never stop talking about this. There will always be new mothers, new grandparents, new aunts and uncles and babysitters, and all the folks that care for children as people retire and take on new jobs and new responsibilities at daycares. There will always be somebody to teach and educate about the importance of safe sleep.